Right, what's going on everyone? Today we've got an interesting topic about peaking for a 1 rep max attempt and why do we do it, how do we go about it. Now, the reason for this video is that I had a client who he was messaging me and he had a surprise or powerlifting competition or a meet that was coming up in a week's time, and he was asking my opinion on whether he could go and could compete in a week's time, out of nowhere, out of the blue. And I told him that's not what I would recommend because there's so many factors that go into it. But let's talk about why we need to peak for a 1 rep max attempt in order to do it properly. Now, not only for the situation and the story with my client, how many times do you see random people going in the gym and every week they're trying to max out, or they just do a random 1 rep max attempt out of the blue when they're feeling good on any given day? You're just shooting yourself in the foot with that because there's a couple of different factors that you haven't prepared for the 1 rep max attempt properly. So again, you're doing things the wrong way. It's just, if you're going to do something, make sure you do it properly. Now I want to go into why you need to peak for a 1 rep max attempt properly. Alright, so let's give you an example. Let's say you're someone was trying to peak for a squat, bench, deadlift, right? And we're currently doing like sets of 8, sets of 10 reps on bench press, deadlift, squats, all that stuff. And then we come in 1 week, the next week after we've been doing sets of 8 to 10 for like 3 months, and then we just try and decide to do a 1 rep max out of nowhere. That's not going to go as well as you think because you haven't prepared your nervous system at all to do that. Lifting heavy weights in that 1 to 3 rep range, it's a skill which requires the nervous system to be ready and firing on all cylinders to do that effectively, okay? So that's why we peak. The first thing is we're trying to prepare the nervous system. Now, not only the nervous system, but the muscles need to make architectural changes. Now, it's things like the pronation angle of a muscle in order to produce the most amount of force possible for the cross-sectional area of the muscle size that you have as well. So you need to train that. You need to train the body in order to do that. Again, if you've been doing sets of 8 to 10, your body is trained to do sets of 8 to 10 and repeatedly exert minimal amounts of force over sets of 8, 9, 10. That's different than doing a set of 1 to 2. You see, there's a couple of differences which you really need to make sure that you've got locked down if you want to peak properly and get the most out of it. So that's number 1, we're trying to prepare the nervous system, why we peak. Number 2, it's decreased injury risk. Now, if you go and try and do a random 1 rep max attempt, as I said, handling loads at 95 or 100% of your 1 rep max, that's demanded on the body, and you need to make sure that your connective tissues, the joints, the tendons, the ligaments, and even the muscles, you need to make sure that everything is prepared for that. If you just go from, again, doing sets of 8 to 10, right to doing that, your injury risk just goes through the roof. It's like you're flooring some Ferrari from 0 to 200 miles an hour within like a second or two without preparing for it. It's like, what the fuck do you think's gonna happen? It's, you're setting yourself up for something to go wrong. Again, why would we do that? Again, when it comes to peaking, you don't have any surprise powerlifting meets, well you shouldn't do anyway. Any sort of real organisation or anything that's going to allow you to do a powerlifting competition, they're going to let you know months and months in advance. So you have no excuse for doing these random 1 rep max attempts. Make sure you plan a date and you're going to prepare for it properly. Again, optimal performance, that's one of the big things. Why would we do all this training then to go and do a 1 rep max and you haven't prepared for it properly? Again, it just doesn't make sense to me. Again, go back to the example, if you were doing sets of 8 to 10, why then would you go and try and do a 1 rep max when you just know that your performance is going to be shy of where it could be? Again, it doesn't make sense. And then the last thing why we peak is we want to decay fatigue and maintain fitness. Now, as we know, when we train, cumulative fatigue gets higher, okay? Also, your training fitness and your performance gets higher. Now, fatigue will hide fitness, fatigue masks fitness. Now, in order to fully express our capabilities in performance. We need to keep performance high and then bring the fatigue down. But that's where you will see the tapering effect of what people will do before a meet or any sort of big competition. They will rest up around 7 to 14 days before the actual competition or something that they're peaking for, in order to maintain that performance and decay the fatigue levels to actually show what they're capable of. So again, going in and just doing a random 1 rep max attempt after in the midst of a normal training cycle, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because you've still got all this fatigue lingering about, which is, it's decaying what you're really capable of. Okay, so that's the main reasons why we are going to peak. Okay, so how do we go about peaking? What do we really need to do? Now, first thing, as I said before, if we know we've got a date set for a competition, your training is going to build up to that 6 to 9 months in advance. You may go through hypertrophy phases, then a strength phase, and then a peaking phase. Now, a peaking phase will last anywhere from 1 to 2 months. It's going to be the most specific phase. It's going to be high specificity, so it's going to be a lot of training with the specific competition movements that you are going to test. So you're going to be doing a lot of heavy 1 to 3 reps, okay, 1 to 2 months prior to the competition or prior to a 1 rep max attempt. And a lot of that work is going to be in that 80 to 95% of your 1 rep max range, okay, just in order to do all of this stuff, prepare the nervous system, decrease injury risk, prepare all of your tendons, ligaments, joints, optimal performance, and then again, trying to get our fitness as high as possible. And I'll get into how we decay fatigue next, okay? So, as I said, specific lifts. So again, one month out of a competition, or if you're trying to peak your deadlift, you need to be doing the conventional deadlift a month out before you do it. You're not just going to turn up to a 1 rep max attempt or a competition and you've been training sumo deadlift and Romanian deadlifts a month prior to the lift, or a month prior to the competition, because you're dealing against the law of specificity. It doesn't make sense. You need to practice how you're going to play, okay? So specificity needs to be there, the competition lifts need to be in there. Now, we're going to taper for 7 to 14 days prior to the attempts. Now, as I said, that is all about decaying fatigue and maintaining fitness. Now, how do we go about that? Now, let me show you. I'm going to wipe this off the board, and then I'm going to show you how we can taper properly. Now, this is just an example. Obviously, there's many ways to taper. So let's say we're competing on. We have the meet is December 10th. Okay, that's where we are. This is the meet. That's the day that we're going to do our 1 rep max attempt. Now, the 7 to 10 day period before that is vitally important. Now, let's say 7 days, right? So let's say here we're on December 3rd, okay, so we're a week out. Okay, 1 week out. Apologies for the hand mic. So December 3rd, December 10th, that's a 7 day period here, right? So let's say we're gonna do squat, bench, deadlift, right? So we have squat, bench, dead, right? So we have December 3rd, probably what you're going to do on this day. Now, this is a week out. You're probably going to work up to your opening attempt of what you would do on the meet day. So that may be around 90%. So what you will probably do, you will hit a single at 90%, 1 by 1 at 90%, 1 by 1 at 90%, okay? So they're going to be your opening attempts on your meet day. That's what you're going to work up to. So that's what you do December 3rd, and then probably about 3 days out from the meet, 3 or 4 days out from the meet. So then that could be, let's say, where are we? Let's say December 7th here, right? you're going to work up to your last warm-ups. So that may be 1 by 1 at 70%, 1 by 1 at 70%, and then again 1 by 1 at 70%. Now what does all of this do? Why are we doing that? Why do we not just take the week off and just rest completely? You can do that. I know a lot of old school lifters will do that. But the benefit of doing this is we're maintaining that fitness and technical proficiency. So we're keeping that fitness high, but we're getting rid of fatigue. So what we want to happen is we want you have fitness is along a line like this, and then you have fatigue, right? So that's fatigue. This is fitness. Apologies for the handwriting, as I said. This is performance. This is fatigue. We want fatigue to drop off like this, and our fitness and performance to stay the same. Now this will allow for proper performance when we come to this day on the meet. Okay, that's what it's all about. That's how we do it. Maintaining technical proficiency, keeping our technique nice and sharp, and we're getting rid of fatigue to show fitness. That's how we taper. Can you see all of that? That's what goes into preparing for a 1 rep max attempt properly. It takes time to do it. That's why I don't ever recommend someone is testing a 1 rep max maybe 1 to 2 a year, because to do it properly, it requires a process that you have to go through. And what you need to remember is that when you are peaking like this, you're actually not building your lift, you're not actually getting stronger. Peaking phases like this in tapering, you're just showcasing the strength that you've built. In order to get this as high as possible, you need to spend a lot of time in hypertrophy phases and strength phases, and then you peak. The peak is like the tip of the skyscraper. This can't be as high as possible without spending a lot of time building that base up to then peak, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. That's why doing random 1 rep max attempts is stupid, and you need to have a good plan, maybe 6 to 9 months out from a time period that you know that you are going to test 1 rep max, okay? That's how you do it. Any questions or comments, anything like that, just let me know, and I'll speak to you in the next one.